Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, a mailbag from our live Monday show. All of your questions being answered live here, including some super thanks that came in throughout the week. We always show you guys some love. From Dallas Halford, Tom, my name actually is Dallas. I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. Family loves your show. Your videos save me at work. Do you think Trevon Diggs still is top corner? Thank you, Dallas, and thank you to your family for watching as well. I really do appreciate that. It's very kind of you. I think he is still your cornerback number one. I don't, with Gillmore here as a short-term piece, I don't think number one versus number two matters that much. Maybe you don't shadow as much as maybe you felt the need to in the past. I think in the end, Diggs is still CB1, but you got two really good ones for at least a year. If you don't know what Super Thanks, allow me to explain. It's a new feature here on YouTube, or new-ish feature, I should say. You can donate outside of live videos. So click the thanks icon. If you send a message, you can edit your message, ask a question, whatever. We'll give you a shout-out if you send in that super thanks. From Demon, should that worry me? I don't know. Gallup in a third or fourth for Hopkins. The issue here is even if the value's about right player and draft boards, I think that's a fair-ish offer, you can't trade Gallup right now. You have already restructured his contract. Because of that, if you trade Gallup right now, you lose $10.6 million in cap space with the way the salary cap works. So Gallup is not going anywhere this year and probably not next year either. So because of that, the trade's just not going to happen. From Real G, who do you take if Jalen Carter and Robinson fall to you? Both good picks and needs. There's a weird dichotomy, is I guess the word I'll use for it, where Jalen Carter is the better player than Bijan Robinson. But if Jalen Carter gets to you at 26, that's probably the best evidence to not take him. Because that means 25 teams were like, or I guess it's 23 teams because there are some duplicate first rounders, but 23 teams are like, nah, we don't trust the off the field. If he gets to you, I'd actually be more worried about drafting him, as weird as that sounds, because it means there's very real off-the-field concerns and red flags. So I would think Dallas could make it work. I mean, they've made it work with trouble guys before. So I'd still go Jalen Carter just in a bubble, but I'd be worried about him getting there. If one of them's there, unless they're off the board altogether for you for whatever red flag you have, I think Carter's better. Who would you pick? JC for Jalen Carter, BR for Bijan Robinson. It's the pinned comments on today's video, so if an ad break comes here on YouTube, head down there and go vote. Javi Butler, is Lamar enough to help them reach a Super Bowl? The issue with Lamar is pretending the money works, which the money that does not work. It's impossible to make it happen in a salary cap era. It doesn't work with the way the contracts are structured. The Ravens' issues have been the lack of playoff success. And maybe Lamar's supporting cast isn't all that great, but he's been genuinely bad in some playoff games. And their defense has also been pretty darn good. So I think your issues with Dak are the same ones you'd have with Lamar. And that's like what separates quarterback number 8 from being quarterback number 4. It's a high bar. That's tough to clear. Got to get them to play better. From Brett, I think Terence Steele comes back solid. How do you feel about paying $10 million for an RB1 with a broken leg? I am not that worried about Pollard. It's a tightrope ankle procedure and a fractured leg that will heal on its own. That's honestly scares me less than a potential ACL tear like we saw with Gallup. So I'm not that worried about Pollard. Terence Steele's rehab is going very well. He is training and rehabbing without the knee brace, doing the full pass sets and everything, so good news there. He is an incredibly hard worker. I actually feel better about Steele than I do about Gallup. Royal Health Shop, Michael Mayer or Darnell Washington, if they are both there at the end of the first round. I have Michael Mayer higher, but I have Darnell Washington as my number 2 tight end over Dalton Kincaid and others. I have always liked Darnell Washington. He's been my guy since the middle of the college football year because he's just a massive human being with a great athletic ability. He's a great blocker. I would not be mad. Even though tight end round 1 value I don't love, I would not be mad if the Cowboys went out and took a Michael Mayer or a Darnell in the first round because I think those guys are going to be really good. Jeff C., a similar question. As we take Darnell, I would think that Michael Mayer's gone Darnell might be there for you, and I think he's going somewhere back end, or at least he should go somewhere back end of round 1. So I would be on board with a Darnell Washington pick. Sam Jordan, again, our tight end conversation here. Schultz ran a 4.75. Jake Ferguson ran a 4.81. Hendershot ran a 4.80. Michael Mayer ran a 4.70. People say Mayer is slow, but he's faster than all of our tight ends from last year. Michael Mayer is not a bad athlete. I wouldn't consider him an elite athlete, but he's not that slow, and he tested a bit better at his pro day too, by the way, which I think really helped out some of those metrics. I think he's a really good football player. I think worst case, you're getting a Hunter Henry-esque player who went in a similar range, but I'm on board with Michael Mayer as a really good tight end. Now, we're talking draft here. A lot of today's mailbag. That makes sense. Draft's inside of a month away. And the NFL draft hats for the Dallas Cowboys are now out. Been some years they were bad. That's not the case this year. I like the look, the kind of off-white, I call it, and the navy. I think it's stone is what they're going to call it this year. Get yours today. chatsports.com/Cowboys draft. That's chatsports.com/Cowboys draft. The link is in the comment section and the description of today's show. Go check it out today. Chris B, it's not going to happen, but trading for Jeffrey Simmons or another dominant DT to take this defense to another level, definitely top 3 star at every level. I think if you get Jeffrey Simmons, you have the best defense in the NFL. Sorry, Niners, etc. That dynamic, disruptive star DT is the one thing you're missing right now on that side of the ball. From Mark, don't like Dak, as you know, Tom, but Lamar's not better. He's obviously the best runner in the NFL, but his arm is okay at best. Dak's actually better. I've actually felt that Lamar is underrated as a passer. I think his issue is his base is very narrow, and it gets him into trouble. If he took a bit of a wider base, he'd be able to generate with a bit more accuracy and power. But as a pure thrower, yeah, Dak is definitely better. It's how much do you want to value the running ability there. I think both these guys are top 10 quarterbacks who haven't quite elevated themselves to that next level of being a consensus top 3, top whatever type of QB. Let's just pretend the money worked. Pretending it was a 1-for-1 trade, nothing else changes. Who would you rather have? LJ for Lamar Jackson or DP for Dak Prescott? Vote for me in the comment section. Cowboy Trips, I think Dak can grow more and not fall into the Romo convo. Would the additions of Gillmore put us top 3 on the defense? Well, you have Gillmore. Do you mean like a Simmons or something? I think you kind of are a top 3 defense. Gillmore is going to help you in a big way. I've said this before. I'm going to stick to it. The Romo Cowboys and the Dak Cowboys are the same team. Sometimes the defense is great. Sometimes it's been really bad. Sometimes the O-line's bad. The receiving core, there's been ups and downs. The quarterback's actually a massive reason why you've consistently been a top 10 team, but people want to blame the quarterback and not the powers that be in the upstairs in the front office because, well, we can't change the Jones boys, but we could maybe change the quarterback or the head coach. Ironically, I think Romo was playing his best ball at the end. It's just his body failed him then. If that keeps getting better, I think that'll be a good thing. Richard, the prediction, Micah will win Defensive Player of the Year. Second back-to-back years. Sure would be nice, and I don't think that's a bold take at all. He'll be among the betting favorites once again. Cheeto, thoughts on Calais Campbell? He's older, but I wouldn't mind it. Maybe a Jacksonville reunion ends up making the most sense there for Calais Campbell, but I do think the area that I would have some interest in adding him to my defensive line. So sorry, Lim. Cavani Turbo will make this offense here if he gets any playing time at wide receiver. If he becomes good enough to play wide receiver, yes. I don't think this is the Cowboys are not utilizing this elite playmaker at wideout. I think this is a tiny football player who needs work as an actual wideout. If he can earn that role, let's go. But I still think he's more of a Tavon Austin type than a Tyreek Hill type. Cowboys fan for life, what's going on with Dalton Reisner? That's a great question. I don't know. I'm a little surprised he's unsigned. We're in April now at this point, basically. I am uncertain what is going to happen there. If the money gets right, I would have interest here. and I would plug him in at left guard, and I would move Tyler Smith to left tackle, and I'd move Tyron to my swing tackle. And I feel really good about that offensive line. I think Risner struggled at times last year in a dumpster fire of a Broncos offense, but instead of being like the best or second best lineman, now he's your worst lineman. That's a good thing to be in on the offensive line. So when it comes to free agency, name a player you want the Dallas Cowboys to sign. Go vote for me in the comments section right now. If you are a diehard Cowboys fan, you got to be subscribed too. Free videos every single day, multiple times per day. Don't miss out on anything here at the Cowboys Report. TKG, what if Zeke somehow comes back to the Cowboys? I think Jerry's full comments, and not the clickbaity ones, were a little bit more like, we're going to move on there. 1-year deal, Vetman. That's the offer. And frankly, little to no guaranteed money, because I kind of want to draft somebody and see if he ends up beating out Zeke for the job. Chip Mayhew OG, what would the money be like if we trade for Simmons? I assume you mean Jeffrey Simmons here. $23+ million per year at the minimum. And it might approach even more than that. It would be a massive, he'd be the non-Aaron Donald highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL. And given the way the Cowboys operate with the future of one Micah Parsons, I don't know if they want to invest approaching $16 million per year in 2 players on the defense side of the football. Chris B., besides Hankins, think Dallas signs their DT in free agency. I think you're going to see Chauncey Golston play some DT, so less of a need there. I would love Poona Ford. I would not rule it out if the money's cheap enough, but I don't anticipate a massive splash signing somewhere along the defensive line for Dallas. I think they're going to kind of hover with what they have at this point. If we missed your question, blame producer Jeremy, but my DMs are open. Hit me up on Twitter at whatgoingdowny with any Cowboys questions you have or NFL draft stuff. I got you guys covered.